Today we are in Ocean City, New Jersey, and I figured that since I'm looking over at a bunch of people off yonder, you know, everything around here is young kids and there's all sorts of like age groups, but you see a lot of young kids and a lot of peers and a lot of like high school kids in their social circles, and everyone looks exactly the same. So today we're going to talk about peer pressure and one of the ways that you can actually use it and leverage it to have it work for you instead of against you. Let's hop into it. So when we think about peer pressure, we think about the types of things that would be bad influences that our peers are putting upon us that we don't necessarily want to engage with or interact with. And we say, oh, I don't want to do that, or I don't feel like that's a good idea. Or for us as Christians, we even say, this is biblically unlawful. Like, this is a terrible idea. We shouldn't be doing this. We're told not to do this for our own good. And so we don't want to do these things, but yet they're being forced upon us because that's what our peers are saying. It's like, oh, it's cool if you do this. Oh, it's cool if you do that. You're not cool if you don't do this, etc. But one of the things that we're missing is that you can also have good peer pressure and good peer influence, because one of the differences is that there are positive stressors and there are negative stressors. And so everything in life can boil down to, is it a positive stressor or is it a negative stressor? And are you going to be using and leveraging positive and negative stressors? So it's super interesting when we think, okay, if we take peer pressure, which is generally thought of as bad, and we apply it to proper areas, then it could actually be used for good. And here's why. Say you're in this group, right? Imagine every peer group as different social ranks and everything. It's all kind of going up a ladder. If we take that ladder and we say we're down here on rung B and it goes all the way up to rung F or something like that, you know, 1 through 5, I don't know. If we say we're at the bottom right now, but we want to be up here, well, what do? The easiest thing to do is just to reassociate yourself with those higher rungs, with those higher peer groups and those ladders. So the easiest thing to do is to abandon your old peer group and go join a new one. The problem is that you have to work out of peer groups and work into new ones. And that's that in between, when you're actually using your muscles to climb the ladder. And that's the difficult part, because if we are trying to climb the ladder and we don't know where we're climbing to, we're gonna have problems. And it's just difficult in general. You've got that stress and you have those things, the stressors of pulling out of that peer group who's going to possibly criticize you for it. And you've got the stress of getting into the new peer group, which might be awkward, it might be tense sometimes, but we can totally do it and it's completely doable. I've been doing it, I've done it before. And so all we have to do is pull out of this old peer group and get into the new one. And what that does is it applies pressure in a positive way, because you still have the peer pressure, but now the peer pressure is not, oh, do drugs. The peer pressure is, I need to be making more money because I'm not making nearly the same amount of money as these guys. Or, you know, these guys are better influences. They walk more biblical sound lives. So I want to be walking a more biblically sound life. I want to have a closer relationship with Jesus, just like these people do. What we do is we take ourselves out of this negative peer pressure and we put ourselves intentionally in this space where there's this stress for us to be better instead of stress for us to do different things that would actually make us worse. Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by LifeVantage. Now, this is a company that I have teamed up with. I work with them, they work with me. It's amazing because this is something that the girls seem to know a lot about, but the guys never get in on it. And it's a way of internally activating your own body so that you are making the most of your life from the inside out, because otherwise, I mean, we can't perform at our highest functions. So I won't explain the science to you right now, but I want you guys to go and check out the link that I have down below, because it's completely free to check it out, everything like that. And I vetted these guys, they're amazing. Everything else in the health industry is just a bunch of the same repeats. And honestly, like, I'm not into any of it, being a health influencer myself. So go check these guys out. I believe in everything that they do, and I wanted to let you know that they exist, whether you want to take me up on it or not, because that's just, I prefer to do it that way. So enjoy that, go check it out, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. So this is super quick, simple, and short. Honestly, this could have been like an Instagram reel or a YouTube short. Basically, you're gonna take yourself out of this peer group where you're having the non-happy, the negative stressors that are pulling you in bad directions, and you're gonna reinsert yourself into the new peer group. And the trick is that you have to define what that peer group is, because if you don't know, you're just gonna kind of float around. And I will tell you this from personal experience. I was actually watching a video earlier and it was talking about self-improvement and self-development. The problem with self-development and self-improvement, and this should actually be another episode, is that it's void of fulfillment, because it's self-improvement and self-development, but for what? It's like for ourselves, for a better life. But if we don't have Jesus in that mix, if we don't have these biblical things that are telling us this is how we should live and giving us the fulfillment that is actually true and that comes with it, then it's going to be hollow and empty, and we're going to fall off, and we're actually not going to find that fulfillment. So we need to make sure that whichever way we're moving is moving in the direction of a more biblical life as well, which is amazing because that gives you an absolute North Star, an amazing compass that you can guide your life by intentionally. And everyone who lives that way is better for it. You know, it's interesting how we were out walking today and we were looking around, and it's like, this area is founded because of Christian ministries. And so everything here is based on Christian ministry and Christian principles. And that's awesome because this is such a nice place because it has these bases, these morals and these principles that are being lived out by the people here with the law. And so, but they don't even realize that's where it comes from. It's that this is like a dry town because it was originally a Christian ministry, and so they didn't want people doing that kind of stuff. So you don't have any of that kind of thing here. Over there, you could go to Atlantic City and you'll find all those things and all the vices you could need. But here, they have these principles and these morals that they're living by, and you know, not everyone's going to be like that, but they've been adapted into the law, and it makes it safer. It makes it safer for everyone. You get to have this niceness and this ease where you're saying, okay, this is cool. And that's where this comes from. So we need to see, where are we moving? Is it moving towards a biblical lifestyle? Are we moving towards Christ? Or are we moving away from him? Because that's also really important. Because you could go up, but if you hit a split and you go this way without him, you're just gonna end up right back down here. Instead, you need to be going up and continue going up because you're going up with Christ. It's kind of like a Y. You're going up, but you got to choose which direction you're going to go up. Okay, that is all I have for this episode. Super short. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.